Now let's get set for our next discussion wherein we talk about AI, quantum, blockchain and 6G, building the decade of digital India. We have with us the moderator of this conversation, who's the co-founder of Beams Venture Capital Fund. We also have the panelists who are joining in for this conversation. Allow me an opportunity to welcome and invite all of them with us on stage, starting with the moderator, who's a renowned industry expert, advisor, investor, and mentor with extensive experience in digital payments and financial services. He's a respected independent board member and a thought leader contributing to the growth of India's fintech ecosystem. Known for his strategic insight, he actively supports startups and fintech ecosystem, the financial technology platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Mr. Naveen Surya. Along with our eminent panelists joining in would be Prasanna Lohar, President and Founder, India Blockchain Forum, Vijay Kumar Pillai, Chief Technology Officer of NSE Indices and Data, as well as Ravi Puli, CTO, Swift India Domestic Services Private Limited. Can we request all our speakers to please now join us on the platform? I believe our team is still coordinating and bringing them in the room. So just give us a minute before we get that. Music chala do. Can the team confirm the speakers are not here? No, we still don't have the moderator. Mr. Pillai, right? Mr. Pillai is also around? He's coming in? See, over there, well, our panelists are here. Apologies on the delay. They were just outside discussing, and we'd just like to take the opportunity of once again just re-welcoming all of them. Of course, we do have Mr. Naveen Surya, a renowned fintech industry expert, advisor, investor, and mentor with extensive experience in digital payments and financial services. He's somebody who's behind a lot of great IPs in the industry, great ideas, a respected independent board member, and a thought leader contributing to the growth of India's fintech ecosystem. We also have joining Mr. Surya, Prasanna Lohar, President and Founder, India Blockchain Forum, Mr. Vijay Kumar Pillai, Chief Technology Officer, NSE Indices and Data, and Ravi Puli, CTO of Swift India Domestic Services Private Limited. We'd now like to leave it in the able hands of Mr. Surya to take it forward.
Thank you. Can we request people to come more forward? We'll be able to see them better, if it is okay with you. So how was your day? Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, people are quite dull. They need extra coffee, sir. Okay. So, well, there was multiple ways to do this session. It's a very interesting topic, future of digital. And then the technologies we are talking are the current topics, whether it's AI, whether it's quantum, whether it's blockchain or 6G. I know less, actually. But what we were just discussing with my panelists here, who are amazing guys, and I won't spend too much time just because of the topic is such, we need to spend more time on topic. We were thinking, what if we become the audience today and make you the speaker? Are you guys ready for that? I don't hear. Ready? Great. I thought it's been like a one-way process for you whole day. So what I thought, I will probably start with one quiz question, and amongst this technology, my favorite is quantum. How many of you call yourself like moderately aware about the quantum technology? If not, let's say the expert, but moderately. Have you heard about quantum computing at least? How many of you? Most of you. Great. All of you almost. Okay. So I personally believe that amongst this is the one which is currently being talked little less, but is going to be the bigger game changer. And while most of the technologies we are like in past the users, so I don't know how much net value we will create for Viksit Bharat, but this one there's still a chance, while we are still quite behind. So I'm going to ask you some quick questions in between, right, depending on how well you answer. So here goes my first question to all of you, right, without any ado, straight. What do you think is the difference between a supercomputer and a quantum computer, if you were to highlight one or two, the big ones? Anyone?
Yes, come back also, students. Anybody?
Anyone? Is it too tough a question for this audience? I thought.
Prashantji, what question? He is IT expert.
Not very much so, but
No, whatever you know. I mean, see, none of us are expert.
yeah. So in terms of supercomputer, you have general kind of calculations and computations that are there. It can be extrapolated to quite a lot of level. Quantum is all equations and high end. This thing would be on a quantum level, multiplier effect.
Okay, yeah, I think logically you're absolutely right. So anyway, since we have less time, I can't wait more for the audience question, but be prepared, there are two more questions for you coming in between. So if you want to do some quick research, you can do it sidely. So Prasanna, do you want to answer this very quickly?
Yeah, see, the way I know, we have heard about classical computing. And in classical computing, when we know programming languages on top of which we build operating systems and whatever we have built so far, it was between a binary, like 0 or 1. And when we say quantum, there is a infinite positionings between 0 and 1. So now start imagining the way we have built so many softwares. And so we are so happy about internet, we are so happy about supercomputers also. And it goes to that infinite level because that positioning is infinite in between. So now start imagining how security, cyber security, data transfer, which could be little difficult, like the way we say we are now sitting on petabytes of data. And with quantum computing, I don't know how much data will come. So generally looking at these things, I think it's still at nascent stage. A lot of things are happening. Let's figure out.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good answer. So fundamentally, it's a difference between the bits and a qubits. It's difference of mathematics versus physics. Everything is physics here, right? While I'm not a science student, by the way, but I'm trying to learn. The only example I will give, think of it as an electronic switch now, which is you're going to be a supercomputer, which has only 0 and 1 position, right? Think of today's computer versus that. And now think that is the quantum computer where you have multiple things that can happen simultaneously. Another way to say is that while you're sitting here, it's more human-like. We are all quantum, right? When you're sitting here, probably you're already thinking 10 things. You're thinking about the session, you're thinking about your next session, you're thinking about where you have to be for dinner or your families. This is exactly how quantum works. It's infinite possibilities at the same time, versus for the regular computer, it's sequential, 1 and 2. I mean, 0 and 1 and the possible combination. But anyway, let me get into my first question with the panel. But be ready, I'm going to ask more questions in between. So my first question, and I will start with Ravi first. Which of these 4 technologies we talk, you think from country's digital future is very exciting to you, and you think and why it is very critical?
Thanks, Navin. That's an interesting question. So if you give me only one technology that could be defining the future of India, I would say it is AI. If you give me like 2 options, I'll say AI and 6G. So if you look at UPI, we currently do 21.7, I think January was 21.7 billion transactions in a month. It's 700 million transactions a day. At that scale, it is not just about whether we can operate digitized at scale, that we've proven, but now the next challenge that comes is how do you build national rails that are safe? That means rails that you can audit, that you can trust, that are unbreachable. So for that kind of thing, you cannot just have, for systems at scale, your existing technologies are not sufficient to continue to establish the level of trust and ensure that AML, fraud, etc. is managed. And then how do you handle like a large number of say, customer issues, etc. So that's where AI comes in. And I believe that it is going to be defining how we grow in the future. But again, when I say AI is, I don't mean the best model wins. What I would think is the best governance wins. So how do you create the best governance to ensure that this AI works in favor of the right side of the society and not the wrong? And I think government that way is taking very good measures. If you look at the AI governance guidelines that RBI has released, they are a fantastic document, and they very, very clearly put down how a structured AI governance should be. And I think we're really doing the right things in terms of, it also talks about the AI safety mission, and so I think we are in the right track, not just saying AI will do a lot of things, but actually saying structured AI will do and well-managed, governed AI will be the future. The second important point, and I'll just take a few, less than a minute on this, is 6G. 6G is the nervous system. So 6G is one which can enable inclusion, it can enable resilience, it can enable, how do you, at this scale, you will need technology that works very, very fast. And that's where 6G comes in. With Bharat 6G vision that the government has, the idea was, if you see 3G, 4G, we followed the world. 5G, we kept pace, we were on par with the world. With 6G, the vision is to lead. So with all the focus that the government has, I guess we are going to be leaders in 6G. So just to sum it up, AI is going to be the capability, 6G is going to be the infrastructure rails, and if we get the governance piece right, then we will be defining the future of digital India.
Great. Vijay, which ones you think?
So I think as far as technology goes, there is no one technology which you can say that it's the only one that is promising. But all the technologies, all the four technologies we're talking here are definitely promising. However, my thought is something I think in a futuristic manner, that is quantum. Quantum is something I believe which will come and it will come into a mainstream, or rather, actual use of it would come somewhere in 10 to 15 years by now is my feeling. We are still in a very nascent stage. People are working on it. There are researches going on. Government has put a lot of funding in it. But what I see is that there is a race going on to compete and become leader or number one in the quantum space. Now this from leading countries are basically putting their efforts in leading out here. So in this race, if we cannot be the one, India cannot be the one who's left behind. So from that perspective, at least I feel that quantum should be has to be the technology of the future. And beyond that, AI and blockchain and all are there. Definitely, AI is something that is something which started several years ago. Today, it is actually gone into the mainstream. So that itself is something that people have adopted and moving on.
Very interesting. In fact, because we are going to be third economy, you cannot have a situation where other two economies are leading quantum and you're nowhere there. So very interesting point. Prasanna.
Yeah, so I just support both of our fellow panelists. Like whenever we give output to the citizens or the users, it's a combination of technology, right? It's for a particular business case or a particular application, and it's a combination of a front which could be app, web app, mobile, and maybe in between we have APIs, and now we talk about agents, and in the backend we have database now, which is becoming more intelligent with AI or some other methods. And the way we have seen the movement because of 1G has become 5G, or your desktop has become internet, so mobile, and maybe tomorrow maybe connected devices. And as we move on, the applications are moved only on client server model. But when we look at DPI or when we look at public infrastructures, when the or mass scale is for public citizens, that time we require more than a client server model, which is a foundational model. And any of those deep technologies which are changing at a country level, at least when we talk about at a nation. So I think we need some foundational technologies. So I always support blockchain. Example, when I want to open a bank account at one bank, it takes 3,000 to 7,000 rupees based upon what operation systems we involve. And it's a one-time cost for one account. How many of you have more than 2 accounts? Maybe many of us will raise the hand, and that much is the load for your account on RBI or at a country. Imagine we open an account once, and that KYC we can reutilize within that decentralized network, where then more than 2 or 3 and like-minded organizations, so-called banks, today, tomorrow, insurance companies, at all consortium, imagine how much output you will get at a national level. So blockchain brings that foundational change. Of course, along with the AI and other data, it will amplify. So that's why I look at blockchain as a technology. While it is an invisible impact, it is not visible to you all, right? It's all what is visible, app or web app like DJ Yatra, or tomorrow now our currency is coming on blockchain, right? CBDC, where we are moving from paper to digital currency. I think it will give a lot of a good business model. That's why I support blockchain as a...
Very interesting. Of course, CBDC is amazing. We'll talk more about it in the next question. So one more quiz question. I don't know how much, again, the audience is prepared to answer it. So again, in quantum, have you guys heard about Moore's law? Who was Mr. Moore? Anyone? Who was Mr. Moore? Intel founder. Silicon chip, the silicon age. So the quantum said that when the quantum came out, the computing part, it says Moore's law is broken. What does it mean? Anyone? Guys, no research? Okay. Sir? Ravi sir?
I can take a shot at it.
Yeah.
So this was Gordon Moore. In 1965, he said that every year the number of transistors on a chip will double. And therefore, what he exactly meant was the computing capacity is going to go up very, very significantly in the future. But when we say that the Moore's law is broken, it's broken for a simple reason. So a transistor is like an on-off button. It's either a 0 or a 1. So the more transistors you put, the more compute keeps happening. But with quantum coming in, that entire thing is broken, because it's no more just adding compute, meaning like 3 times, 5 times, 10 times. Now with quantum, there is no 0, 1. It's like a fan regulator. It's like a switch on-off switch, or a fan regulator. You can like change it as much as you want. So it just multiplies thousands and thousands of times. So therefore, Moore's law is not relevant anymore.
Yeah. So another way to say it is that the capacity which was growing, the computing power twice in every 2 years, suddenly has already become infinite when it comes to the quantum world. So it's no longer a constraint. Ravi sir, continue with you. See, we talked about these technologies, your favorite one, and I'm sure all your organizations are taking great advantage of these new technologies. Do you want to talk about now practitioner view on these technologies, just 1 or 2 examples that you're using, success stories, case studies that you've been doing, and what has been the outcome, learnings that you want to share with any of our audience today?
Yeah, probably just to let you know, I work with a company called Swift. So Swift is, many of you would have seen the Swift code. So there's actually a company behind it, and it's a large company. And we are responsible for moving money between, because we are majorly into cross-border money movement. Every bank in the world uses the Swift network. So the amount of data that flows on it's humongous. Of course, it's like not like UPI where it's at billions, but then the UPI is more low value, high volume. There it is high value, high volume. So any mistake made, it results in very large, it can wipe out countries' GDPs if they wrongly use Swift. So that's the extent of damage that's possible. So Swift has been very proactive in terms of using AI. I'll say on the works, on the technology side from a Swift platform perspective, we've used it extensively for anomaly detection, basically for fraud defense. So what we do is we have something called anomaly scoring. So when transactions come in, you're able to real time see what could be a pattern that is not looking right, and then pull them out. So there was several banks that were roped into a pilot, and this pilot ran for almost 2 years. Started sometime in early October, ended in sometime in 2025. And what they found out was they could detect real-time frauds in 1/4 the time that it took earlier, which means that so many frauds that could have happened were prevented on the SWIFT network because of the use of AI for using patterns. AI is extremely good at pattern recognition. So that was from a SWIFT perspective. I also want to share what we at SWIFT are doing to ensure that every employee is aware of AI and uses it to increase productivity. So first of all, I mean, it's a very, very big initiative. There were 2 weeks of AI week that happened last year, and this included the entire senior management of SWIFT, where they came and spoke about how AI could transform SWIFT in terms of better decision making, higher productivity, etc., etc. And then we had a continuous weekly sessions where every employee of SWIFT had to mandatorily go through a full series of trainings and be completely aware of how to responsibly use AI at work. So all this is governed under AI governance, which is again led by senior management. So that's how we're doing it at SWIFT, and we've seen like tremendous increase in not only in terms of productivity, the quality of decision making, because we use Copilot extensively. This is the enterprise edition, which is a walled garden, but then all the information that you need to make a decision is available at your fingertips. So it's been a great experience for all of us. It takes away a lot of stress of not knowing things. So that's one real life example that I can talk about.
Very nice, very interesting. Vijayji?
So I come from NSE Stock Exchange and Market Data. So we are basically very conservative when it comes to adopting new technology, just because of the reason that stability is one of the most critical factor for us. Having said that, there is one area that we would definitely want to look forward from an AI perspective. Today we are sitting on a lot of data from a lot of historical data, which we have collated over years since inception. Now, the way we provide these data to our customers are basically through the normal channels of TCP/IP streaming or end-of-day files, etc. But the reach of these are very limited. It's like one-to-one, where the customer approaches us and then we get registered with us and we give them the data. Here we are now talking or kind of exploring a way where we can kind of create a marketplace for our data. And with AI technologies, we will be able to kind of, outreach to even not only large players, but also people who are interested in getting this data for their smaller reasons, smaller purposes. So we are basically trying to explore something in the MCP area where AI can directly interact with our defined rules, defined set of security boundaries that we have set, in which we will be able to provide this data to the end customers. Right now, this is just in a nascent stage, in a very exploratory mode. We are not sure whether we will be able to kind of roll this out. However, this is one area that we'll definitely plan to look forward in future.
Very interesting. Prasanna, you have been in a unique position, right? You're working with multiple organizations, different capacity, multi-technologies. So some interesting learnings that you want to say?
I think when we look at digital transformation journeys typically I am a banker, so I look at banking side, right? So these journeys are whenever we adopt any new technology, say earlier we adopted digital per se, web apps or mobile apps, UI UX engineering. Now we talk about AI or blockchain or cloud. So typically, like when you look at AI, I think last 2-3 years, majority of banks has done a lot of POC pilots, experimentation, and a lot of study which is coming, right? When you are doing something, you need to know what you are doing. for what you are doing, like what is that business case, use case, what problem you are solving. So when you talk about quantum or when you talk about AI or blockchain, I think organization or a consortium of organizations, say example bank, consortium of organization is backed by Reserve Bank of India. They should know what is that use case problem statement we are solving. Now let's go back in maybe 2012-13, where RBI always comes with vision statements. And a UPI was part of vision statement defined in 2013. And it was being said that let us do before 2017. And we had done in 2016. So likewise, when you look at this vision statement, it talks about what is that gap we need to really address for banks over a period of next 4 or 5 years. Look at vision statement of RBI, which was published 1 year back, or annual report. So annual report of RBI 2 years or 3 years back was not having any terms called as AI. But if you look at 2025 December end report, at least 300 times you will AI, and you will find RBI Innovation Hub has come up in 2 years, 2021, or RBI FinTech Unit has come with the aspiration that let us utilize this technology for solving right problem statement. Example, if you see blockchain, it is there since 2009 with Bitcoin and other things. But how we can really look at to solve that a problem of paper currency and operations around that, moving that money to ATM vans, from Chase branches, right? It takes a lot of operations. Now imagine instead of printing that currency, now we are minting that currency digitally. That too from RBI to the Chase branches, and then it is coming to your wallet in form of a e-rupee in Indian context. And at the same time, there are 12 countries are working. And imagine over a period of next few years, right, lot of operations are there which is around cross-border or many more things. You will find new way of moving the money, right? And that is backed by this technology. Now, this could be the one of those learnings. And while doing this, we need to know what problem you are solving. When you are solving that problem, do you have that kind of a people in the organization or in the ecosystems? If not, train them or retrain them and utilize them. And then like say example AI. Technically, when you look at AI the way we have, or when we talk about Chitti like AI, right, which is a super, right now we are narrow AI. That too, in that also, how much to automate, what to automate, technically we can automate everything and we can become AI, but is it what you want to do it? And while doing this, what is that concern around risk, governance or security, are we really doing it well, right? So and while doing this, what regulation is around that? Like say example, in 2017 we created P2P lending, which was called as a DeFi, decentralized finance, but it was not regulated, right? So these are those learnings. Anything, everything, you look at the people, how they are incentivized in the organization, look at what to automate, is that technology is mature, regulatory view, are the partners available, and ultimately keep asking customer, are you happy with this output? Yeah.
No, I think very interesting. So one last quiz question, and then also one last question for panelists, which means if you have interesting questions, keep it ready. If you have time, we'll surely give you opportunity. So one last very quick question. So what do you think one big threat that a quantum computing will create, which all of you have heard of? Anyone? Yeah, please go on. Password security. Okay, security basically. Yeah, very good. Vijay, you want to expand on this?
So this supercomputers we are talking about, we have built a lot of security around, around our entire systems using complex algorithms. Now, to break the current security with the existing supercomputer, it might take months, years. Let's assuming a brute force attack, if somebody is planning it, to take months, years to, go through this entire cycle and break one particular password. Now, with a quantum systems, quantum computers, this can be done within seconds or probably even microseconds. That is the scale of, the speed or the power of quantum is what we're talking about here. So, as you said, the security is one of the very prime concern when it comes to quantum computing, something we must all be aware of. And
yeah. So, just to add, look at current wars, right? We saw it's all driven by drones. But imagine maybe a few years down the line, I don't think it's 10 years, China was due to get this capability in 25. We are already in 26. Maybe give a year or here and there, they would be ready. Imagine the next war happens with the quantum computer attack on three things: your defense missile systems, attack on your entire telecom network, which again impacts the communication of the defense, and third, your entire financial system. You don't even need to send a drone, right? So just think about it, what can happen. And connected to this, I'm coming to you, Vijayji, again. This is a common question for all three of you. We'll go in reverse order this time. So while we talked about all these technologies, right, and there are also a lot of evils that we talk, right? Every coin has two sides. Nothing comes, right, without the tax or without penalties. So what are the threats, challenges, any solutions for those challenges from these new technologies? Just like we talked about quantum. What are your views on it?
So every new technology that comes to us is equally available to all those people who would want to be working as a threat actor, against the country, against the institution, against our systems. So while we go ahead with building all the systems, the prime concern about security has to be our whole focus. So basically building guidelines. This cannot be an individual or a one person or a one organization action. It has to come at every level. Every person has to think about security before you actually embark on any kind of an initiative. So the government has to pitch in. Definitely they are doing their own bit. Each organization has to pitch in. So there has to be guidelines, there has to be kind of rules defined before we actually adopt any of the new technology. We are not saying that we cannot, but that has to be in the back of the mind when we move ahead with our any of these kind of initiatives. Yeah.
Thank you. Prasanna?
Yeah, I think every technology comes with its own drawback. Then we start building another framework or technology. Like let's look at mobile technology. Then we started building MPIN or OTP and many more railroads or guardrails the way it has. But today, if you talk about, say example, blockchain, and if blockchain would have been there in 2000 or 2005, so security railroads might be different because blockchain is a secure proof. Nobody can tamper the blockchain data. But that's a myth. Reality is like if you really don't configure it properly, then it's a havoc. And it's a foundational havoc. It's not a one computer, but complete. Imagine CBDC is get tampered. It means national currency is tampered because. So I think every technology comes with the loopholes, but that is how we need to bring right guidelines, frameworks, which will attach and bring some good inputs, like the way we had internet banking guideline, mobile bank. Similarly, every business model will bring. Similarly, AI, while AI is a golden bullet, but how we are feeding the data, AI hallucinations, that is why we come up with some free AI framework, which is RBI given. So in a nutshell, every technology has its own pitfalls. As we learn that particular model, how we are configuring, then we have standards and frameworks around that. Yeah.
Thank you. Raviji?
Probably I can talk about quantum. So if you see, again, I can relate it to what happens at Swift. So in Swift, there's this structured messages that flow between banks. And these messages are highly secure. I mean, this security in the history of Swift has never been broken. And wherever you heard of instances are not the Swift system that is broken, but it is some other internal systems that have broken. So if you're talking about quantum is seen as a big threat for even Swift because the public key encryption, cryptography that is there is not difficult for quantum to break. So that said, so the solution for that is basically to be post-quantum ready, which means that every organization should start preparing itself for the post-quantum ecosystem so that their systems are robust and are able to withstand a post-quantum attack. This might look like it's very distant, but it is not very distant because you don't need this to geographically spread everywhere in the world. Everybody has these quantum machines, only then the attacks would happen. Even if there are a few machines across the world, they could be leveraged to have attacks anywhere in the world. So what's important is to be very aware, ensure that every organization that needs to safeguard its data is post-quantum aware. That means they're building those post-quantum algorithms, cryptology, etc. that is required so to safeguard their systems.
Thank you. So, if you guys have questions, now is the time. So maybe we'll, okay, 2 questions, 3. Okay?
Anand, I'll give you the mic.
Yeah. So these 3, I think, we will take all 3 questions.
No, only
Yeah.
one observation. When you talked about the digital future, we just covered only finance. So there is something called power stack, agriculture stack, then education. And plus someone talked about 6G and BharatNet. So all that is going to change the way India is going to be. So it's what I wanted to
I thought
include.
quantum was for everything, but you're right. Maybe because some of us are from finance background, we spoke more about it. So, sir, next time you have to mix more panelists beyond finance.
That's all.
He is part of our N2 only last.
Sure, sir.
Can I ask one?
Come on, yeah.
Yeah, this is my name is Ramanamurthy. I'm a former banker. I have one fundamental question. Most of you are experts in the technology, finance, and all. Now, in the recent CBI report says 7.5 lakhs mule accounts were opened by various banks across India in small towns, etc. What I'm asking, because I'm handling a couple of cyber fraud cases. That's the reason why, based on the experience, I wanted to get an idea about how these things can be prevented. Basically, what's happening in nutshell, rural branches, these fraudsters approach them, they bribe them, they get account opened on impersonation basis, funds are moved out from the victim, like a senior citizen or anybody like that, money goes in lakhs and crores, and money goes to dealer to ultimately...
No, I think mule accounts are the panelists
yeah.
know, so
now,
I
now
get
the
it.
thing is, recently Supreme Court has also mentioned banks are a major liability to the society. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it because being a banker. Now, what I'm saying, we are talking about AI, quantum technology. Is there any technology, is there any way we can find out before when the account is opened by rural branch, because bankers, some of the bankers are fraudsters are there. They are in connivance of fraudsters, they are opening accounts for getting bribe, etc. Fine. That is natural in India. So now the point is there any way we can trace before mule account is operational? Because we talk about due diligence. Biggest banks like Kotak Mahindra, most of them are opened mule accounts.
So luckily, I got it, sir.
Now I will just complete it. So my point is basically what technologies can be introduced or RBI can ask the banks to introduce before the account is open, not even money going out, before the account is open, activated, yes, there is a fraud account is happening, so let us inactivate it. So that poor victim money can, before it goes out, at least money will remain in the account. Now today what's happening, money goes out. After 15 days, bank will say, no, we don't know, account was opened, gone. RBI has totally failed.
So Raman, RBI is really doing an separate, what do you call it?
RBI has a solution already. I think we have Ajay here, he can answer it in next panel, I think.
I'm only
rather than we are answering.
No, I'm just asking basically, I want to share, is there any better ideas to prevent these frauds in the banks? That's exactly.
No, that's what Narendra sir is saying, and I'm saying Ajay is here, who's going to be in next panel. He's the better person to answer
all
this.
All accounts are being observed for the banking industry, and they are predicting what
Let
could
Ajay
be
answer.
it is there now.
So, sir, RBI Innovation Hub has already created a solution called RBI Mule Hunter AI. So this is already being working with few pilot banks. It's getting expanded to the other banks as well. The whole concept is here that if an account is identified as a mule account in say a bank, and if the same perpetrator is going to another bank and trying to open another account, so आपने identify कर लिया, simple है, आप उसको बंद कर देंगे. But what stops that same person to go to another bank and do it, because they will not know it's a mule account. So RBI through this mule hunter, once it is established with all the banks, will they will be able to know that okay, this perpetrator has already tried opening an account or had opened an account in X bank, and now he's come to Y bank. This is pre-identified as a fraud account, and hence it will be stopped at pre-operational itself. However, of course, if some new perpetrator comes, it's an AI module, right? So it will learn from the pattern and it will then identify and say that, okay, this is potentially a mule account, so pause it. So all of these initiatives are already under play, and the best thing which is happening here is, rather than every bank trying to innovate their own solution, Innovation Hub regulator has done the innovation so that it can be democratized across all the banks and done at an institutional level rather than at a bank level.
Thank you. There's one more last question from here, I think. Yeah.
Hi. So
Mike.
whatever. It's okay. To Ravi and Prasanna, right? UPI is a cross-border payment. Make a reality. I'll cover that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so while sir is covered, so I have done cross-border transaction when I was in Nepal or in Dubai. So I was so happy with that experience. Yeah. And moreover, now certainly you will see Paris, Japan, those use cases coming into.
Okay, thank you.
Let me be with him and say it's somewhere in between. It's not yet a full reality, so let Ajay answer that.
Right.
Sorry?
Very small question. When do you see India creating a SWIFT equivalent system acceptable at a global level? 3 year, 5 year, 10 year?
Is it for Ravi Swift only to answer it, or us as a non-Swift? All of us.
As
Okay.
an Indian and as a fintech expert.
Okay.
My answer would be you don't need to because we're here. We'll take care of it. Why would you want an equivalent?
He's answered from Swift perspective. Let Prasanna answers from India perspective.
So I think NPCI and they have formed another company, NIPL, right? That's how we have seen that it is going more than 10 countries, and we'll see. While Swift is there, this is also there, right? That's how we'll see. And at the same time, the way we look at blockchain and the tokenization, CBDC, I think CBDC, interoperable CBDC, will bring on a lot of new initiatives. Bank International Settlements are doing almost more than 15 pilots with Embridge and many more other things. So I think it all depends upon the business model, effectiveness, operational angle, and I think that's how we will see the customer satisfaction. And then there will be multiple players. Depends upon is it a retail transaction or a cross-border trade transaction or a corporate transaction. So opportunity is huge for everybody along.
One thing to add there is Swift is built over 50 years and is built on trust. So the name Swift goes with trust anywhere globally. Building that is going to take more time than building the technology part.
Okay, let's not be the debate. Let's
And Swift itself is doing a lot of experiments with cross-border. Yeah. So yeah.
Vijay, any last words from you on any of these questions? Anything you want to? We still have like few seconds before I close formally.
No, I think these things are kind of, it will take its own time. Systems are already, coming into place. We need to more focus on the processes as well, where it's not only the technology, but however the processes are very, very important here. We need to set that right as well.
Oh, very well said. So thank you everyone. I think we have just 1 minute before, like I promised.
Really great.
And one trick question for all of you to search. All of you watch science fiction movies, right? Multiverse, everything. So I don't know if you're familiar with a word called quantum tunneling. Please Google it, check it out, and learn it, what exactly it is and what it can do. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our eminent panelists for joining us. And towards the penultimate end, we just like to request Priyanka and Ankita from N-Cube to please join us on stage and help us in giving a token of appreciation to our speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the two ladies who have been working with Dr. Narendra for the conception and curation of this event. So let's give them a big, big round of applause, please. And trust me, what's happening on the other side right now is going to be the best closing for the day one. So stay tuned as we are currently getting joined by one of the biggest speakers in the country with regards to this topic. So stay tuned while as we introduce him on the other side. Meanwhile, a big thank you to all our speakers. Mr. Surya, what an excellent curation, always such an inspiration learning from you. Can we have a big, big round of applause for Mr. Naveen Surya, always so dynamic. Some of the biggest IPs of our country, trust me, have been run by him, curated by him, and he's a fine mind, bringing together all folks, and his persona says it all. With that being said, of course, a big thank you to all our panelists, and we are now also joined by the N-Cube team on stage. And those conversations will only continue as we have all our leaders. Thank you so much to each and every one of them for joining in. Please do join us further for the final session. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed our honor to move ahead to the next session. Can we please request everyone to kindly be seated? Can we please request everyone in the room to kindly be seated? We just have the final session. May we please request everyone to kindly be seated. It's just another few minutes, and we want, since he's in the room already, to start with this session. So, ladies and gentlemen, music come.